Sit down. I already poured your drink. Oh, you're back. You look different. Last time you came in here, you looked like a man who'd seen something he shouldn't have. Tonight, you look like a man who's being seen by something he can't find. This isn't a work story, is it? No, I didn't think so. Take your time. I'm not going anywhere.
No. This one isn't work. This one is mine. I moved to Austin in September 3 weeks after Emma left. She took the cat and the coffee maker and the ability to fall asleep without my phone in my hand. So I downloaded Hinge the way you download a game you know is bad for you, just something to tap while your brain refuses to shut up at 2 in the morning. I went through the motions for a few weeks, swipe, match, exchange a few messages, let the conversation die, none of it felt real. It was like window shopping for a life I wasn't ready to buy. Kara matched with me on a Tuesday. Her photos were the kind that make you pause mid-scroll. Dark hair, sharp jawline, a smile that looked like she was laughing at something only she understood. Her bio said, "I'll outdrink you and it won't even be close." I like that. I like that she didn't try too hard. We texted for 2 days. She was funny, actually funny, not ha-ha funny. She asked questions and remembered the answers. When I mentioned I'd just moved to Austin, she referenced it 2 conversations later. "So has the new city won you over yet? Or are you still sleeping on an air mattress surrounded by boxes?" I wasn't, but the fact that she remembered made me smile in a way I hadn't in weeks. "Fresh starts deserve celebration," she wrote on Thursday evening. "Drinks this weekend?" We met at a craft brewery on South Congress. Saturday, around 8. The place was loud. A band tuning up in the back, groups of friends shouting over each other, the clatter of glasses. She was already there when I arrived, sitting at the bar in a black sundress, and I remember thinking, she looks better in person. That almost never happens. She stood up when she saw me, hugged me like we'd known each other for years. Her perfume hit me. Something floral but thick, heavy, like flowers that had been sitting in a vase too long. Sweet on top, but underneath, something else. Something organic. "You're taller than your photos," she said. "I approve." The conversation was easy, effortless. She laughed at things that weren't even jokes, which made me feel funnier than I was. She touched my arm when she made a point. She leaned in when I talked, like what I was saying actually mattered. But there were things. When I asked where she grew up, she said all over and pivoted to asking about my job before I could follow up. When I mentioned my sister's wedding coming up in December, she smiled and said family stuff in a tone that closed the door. I asked if she had siblings. She tilted her head, an oddly mechanical gesture, like she'd seen someone do it on television and was replicating the motion, and said, "Why are you writing my biography?" It was charming. It deflected. I noticed but didn't push. Over 2 hours, she never mentioned a single other human being. No roommate, no coworker, no "my friend said the funniest thing last week." Nobody. In her telling, the world contained exactly 2 people, her and whoever she was talking to. Right now, that was me. She ordered drinks confidently but never ate anything. I suggested splitting some fries and she waved it off. I ate before I came. She didn't touch the complimentary peanuts either, just drank. Wine, then whiskey, quantities that should have put a person her size on the floor. Her eyes stayed clear, her words stayed sharp. Not a single slur, not a stumble. I was 3 beers in and feeling it. She was on her 5th drink and looked like she'd just arrived. Around 10, the band started playing and the bar got louder. She leaned in close, close enough that her lips almost touched my ear. That perfume again, under the sweetness, something sour, something old. "My place is 10 minutes from here. I have a balcony. Great view of downtown." I said yes. Of course I said yes.
The perfume flowers that have been sitting in a vase too long. Oh, I know that smell. Keep going.
Her apartment complex had one of those aspirational names. The Residences at Waterstone or Creekview or something. Glass and reclaimed wood in the lobby. A doorman who nodded but didn't smile. But her unit was down a half-flight of stairs. Garden level, she called it. The hallway smelled like industrial cleaner, and the fluorescent lights buzzed the way they do right before they die. She unlocked 3 separate locks. I didn't think about that until later. Inside, the first thing I noticed was the air freshener. Not a candle. One of those plug-in devices that pulses synthetic sweetness every 30 seconds. It was working overtime. Beneath it, something else breathed. Not food. Something heavier than spoiled food. More animal. A thickness that settled into the back of your throat. The living room was dim, one floor lamp in the corner, its shade angled toward the wall, as if the room preferred not to be seen clearly. The furniture was right, couch, coffee table, bookshelf, but wrong. No wear on the cushions, no rings on the coffee table. The books on the shelf were arranged by color, spines uncracked. A display, not a home. A place designed to look like a place where a person lived. On the kitchen counter, stacks of mail, rubber banded into bundles. I could read some of the names. Sarah Mitchell, Rebecca Torres, Kara Engstrom. Different names, same address. She caught me looking. Previous tenants. Management never updates the forwarding. Sure. 3 different women, same apartment. That happens. And then the hallway, 2 doors. The one on the left was open, bathroom, white tile. Unremarkable. The one on the right was closed. A padlock hung from a hasp on the outside of the door. On the outside, I must have stared a beat too long because she was already talking. My ex's stuff, boxes and boxes. She waved her hand, a gesture that was almost right but slightly too fast, like a motion she'd practiced. I keep meaning to deal with it, but a shrug. You know how it is. I didn't. I'd never installed a padlock on the outside of a door in my own apartment. But she was handing me a glass of wine and standing very close, and her eyes were doing something I can only describe as focused. Not seductive, focused. Like a lens adjusting. The thought dissolved. We ended up in her bedroom. I'll spare the details, but I need to say one thing because it matters. Her eyes never fully closed. The entire time. She watched me the way you'd watch something you were trying to learn. Not passion, study. Like she was cataloging responses, noting what worked. Her skin was cool, not cold, but cooler than it should have been for someone in a warm room, under blankets, in the middle of exertion. I told myself it was the basement apartment. Poor circulation. It made sense if you didn't think about it too hard. After, she fell asleep. Fell is the wrong word. She stopped. One moment she was talking, something about a restaurant, mid-sentence, the word reservation half formed on her lips, and then nothing, eyes closed, breathing so even it sounded mechanical, like a recording of someone sleeping. I lay there for 20 minutes, maybe 30. The air freshener pulsed its vanilla. The smell underneath grew stronger, or maybe I was just more tuned to it now. It had a quality I couldn't name. Not rot exactly, but something adjacent, something biological that was being masked. I needed the bathroom. The hallway was dark. No light switch where I expected one. I used my phone screen to navigate, the pale glow casting shadows that moved wrong. Va? That's when I saw it. The padlock on the second door was hanging open. I hadn't heard her get up. I was certain. I'd been lying next to her for 30 minutes, awake, listening to that too-perfect breathing. The padlock had been locked when we walked past. I remembered the brass catching the lamplight, the weight of it. Now it hung loose from the hasp. The door was open maybe 2 inches. I should have gone to the bathroom. I should have pissed and washed my hands and gone back to bed and driven home in the morning and never thought about any of it again. But the smell was coming from that room. I was sure of it now. That animal thickness, that biological wrongness, it was seeping through the crack in the door like something alive. And there was light inside. Faint. A pale blue glow. A nightlight, the kind you plug into an outlet, shaped like a moon. Through the gap I could see a strip of carpet. Beige, but stained dark in places. There was a mattress on the floor. No frame, no sheets. Just a bare mattress with a shape on it. A man, he was curled on his side, facing away from the door. Shirtless. I could count his ribs. His skin had a yellowish cast, like old paper. One wrist was connected to the wall by something, a cable, maybe, or a zip tie. I couldn't tell in the blue light. And he was breathing. Fast, shallow breathing, like something that had learned to make itself small. Something that knew what happened when it made noise. He didn't turn around. Maybe he couldn't. Maybe he'd stopped trying. On the floor next to the mattress, an empty water bottle, a protein bar wrapper, a bucket, and scratched into the wall above where his head lay, in marks made by a fingernail or something like a fingernail. Tally marks. Rows and rows of tally marks. Every hair on my body stood up at once.
A padlock on the outside, most people would have left. The ones who stay, it's not stupidity, it's that she was already doing something to you. The way your thought dissolved. That wasn't wine, that was her.
I stepped backward. My heel hit the bathroom door and it swung open with a crack that sounded like a gunshot. I froze. From the bedroom, nothing. No movement. That perfect, mechanical breathing, undisturbed. From the room, the man's breathing got faster. But he didn't move, didn't turn, didn't call out, like he'd learned that sounds brought something worse than silence. I went to the bathroom. I did not look at the door again. I washed my hands and I looked at myself in the mirror, and the face, looking back, didn't seem like mine. When I returned to the bedroom, Kara hadn't moved. Not a centimeter. Same position, same breathing, same slightly parted lips. But her phone had lit up on the nightstand. A notification from a timer app, just a number on the screen. Day 847. 847 days. 2 years, 3 months, and 22 days. I got dressed in the dark, slowly. Every zipper, every button performed with the precision of surgery. I picked up my shoes and carried them. I did not look at the hallway door. In the living room, I passed the kitchen counter. The mail. Sarah, Rebecca, Kara. I thought about the man in the room. I thought about 847 days. Sarah, Rebecca, Kara. Same address, different names. That wasn't previous tenant's mail. It was all her. Different names, same thing, over and over. The man in the room, he wasn't the first. When day one resets, what happens to the one before? I opened the front door and closed it behind me with the care of someone handling something that might detonate. I didn't run until I was in the stairwell. In my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel, I called 911. I gave the address. I said there was someone being held against their will. The dispatcher asked for my name. I gave it. She asked me to stay on the line. I said I would. I sat there for 45 minutes. No patrol car came. I called again. Different dispatcher. She checked the system and told me no units had been sent because the address I'd given didn't exist in their database. I was parked in front of the building. I was looking at it. I drove home. I blocked Kara on Hinge. I deleted the app. I sat in the shower until the water ran cold. 3 days later, a note appeared under my apartment door. No envelope. Lined paper torn from a notebook. The handwriting was careful and deliberate. Not quite cursive, not quite print, like someone who had studied examples of how humans write. You left your watch. Come get it anytime. I'm always home. Signed K. I stared at it for a long time. I have never owned a watch. That was 6 months ago. I moved to Denver in January. New job, new apartment, new city. I haven't used a dating app since. I installed a deadbolt and a chain and a camera that points at my door. I check the footage every morning. Yesterday, when I got home from work, there was a note under my door. Same paper, same handwriting. Still have your watch. Signed K. The camera footage shows my hallway from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. 12 hours. Nobody walks past my door. Nobody approaches it. Nobody touches it. The note was there when I got home. I've been thinking about the man in the room, about the tally marks on the wall, about day 847. I've been thinking about who was counting, her or him. And I've been thinking about the names on the mail. Sarah, Rebecca, Kara. I don't think Kara is her name. I don't think she has a name. I don't think she's the kind of thing that needs one. If you're reading this and you're on Hinge in Austin, and you match with a woman who seems too good to be true, who laughs at all your jokes and never talks about anyone else and smells like dying flowers, and drinks like the alcohol isn't reaching anything inside her, unmatch. Immediately. Don't meet her. Don't go to her place. And whatever you do, don't let her find out where you live. I don't know what she is. I don't want to know. I just know I'm running out of cities.
You're not running out of cities. You never were. Cities don't matter to something like that. Sarah, Rebecca, Kara, those aren't names, they're seasons. She sheds them the way trees shed leaves. When one is done, she grows another. How do I know? Because things that wear human faces, they all shop at the same store. And I've been in this business a long time. You'll be fine. She collects. She doesn't hunt. There's a difference. If she wanted you back, you wouldn't be sitting here telling me about it. The note under your door, still have your watch? That's not a threat. That's a bookmark. She's saving your page for later. But later is a long time from now. Finish your drink. I'll be here. I always am.